In this video, we will be looking at the simplification of algebraic expressions, but specifically factorization. Alright, this is aimed at grade 10 mathematics. So let's jump right in. We are going to get certain questions, and they're going to tell you quite simply to factorize them fully. Now, I've broken this video into three sections. Firstly, we have easy. These questions are pretty much revision from grade 9. So, when it comes to factorization, I want you to remember the following at all times. We always start by looking for the highest common factor. And this breaks into three categories, which we'll look at in a moment. And if you cannot take the highest common factor out, then we look for difference of two squares, also known as dots. Thereafter, if you can't do dots, we look for trinomials. And if it's not a trinomial, then we can look for difference of two cubes. Dot go. Alright, now, highest common factor breaks out into the first one, which is just factors. That's nice and easy. Second one is a common bracket. So if we can take out a common bracket. And the third option here is grouping. Alright, now you need to memorize this because we always start at the top. We always start by looking for a highest common factor and then we go down. It's similarly, you can compare it to BODMAS. Alright, where you always look in the bracket first, then operations, division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. Same process now with factorization. Alright, so let's start with the first one here. Using what I just told you, we have to look for a highest common factor first. And let's look for a normal factor here. We have an 8, 6, and 2. Highest common factor there being a 2. We know we can take a 2 out now. And let's see what else is common. Well, we have an A. We have A, but no A. Okay, so we can't take that out. We have Y. Okay, let me just, before I get to Y. See, we have A here and A here. So technically from those two we could take out A squared. However, there is no A in the third number. Therefore, we cannot take out a common A. Here we have Y squared, Y cubed and Y squared. The common factor there, the highest common factor there would be Y squared. Alright, and now in brackets we need to write what is left over. So here, if you take 2 out of 8. Let me quickly explain what's about to happen here, there at the bottom. So let's say I had 8 and I took a 2 away from the 8. Now in order to have the same value, you need to divide the 2 out. So 8 divided by 2 would be 4. Because if you had to reverse it and times the 2 in, you would need to get the same answer 8. So when we take out a factor, we divide it out. So this would be 4. Okay, did we touch the A cubed? No, we didn't. So 4A cubed. And the Y squared we took out. Now Y squared divided by Y squared is 1. So there's nothing left there. Minus. Took out a 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3A squared. We took out Y squared. Therefore, we are left with Y. Remember, you took a 2 away from that 3. Therefore, there is 1 left. Okay, and then plus 2x squared. And there is the answer for that. Okay, nice and easy as promised. Okay, let's speed it up a little bit. Next one, a squared minus b squared. Okay, so remember, you guys can already see it is a difference of two squares, but I don't want you to start there. I want you to start by looking for the highest common factor. Is anything common between these two numbers? No. Alright, and now before we answer that, I just want to point something out. Often grade 10s look at this and think it's also a difference of two squares. But it's not. Because that means sum of two squares. This means difference. Please remember that. You can only factorize using difference of two squares if there is a minus. Okay, anyway, so here, because it's a difference of two squares, we memorize it, we write bracket, 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 plus and minus. It does not matter which order you put them in. It could be minus plus, as long as the one is a plus and the other is a minus. Alright, and now we write a because you break this number up into its factors, and then b. Alright, nice and easy. Okay, next one again. We start off by looking for our highest common factor. We see we have a y, but no y. Okay. Another way to see this as a trinomial is to see we have 1, 2, 3 terms. And important is to look at the exponents. We have 2, 1, and you could imagine this would be y to the power of 0. Alright, that is the best way to identify a trinomial. And the word tri means 3. So we have 3 terms, it's a trinomial. Okay, cool. So, trinomials, we go bracket, 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 bracket immediately. Now, you get 4 types of trinomials. Alright, 3 and 4. You get plus, 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 minus, minus, plus, and minus, minus. Those 4. Now, this is a minus plus. This minus here, let me just change the color quickly. So this minus here means they will be different. So it means we have a plus and a minus. And the plus over here means the bigger one will carry the plus. Okay, this second sign here means your biggest number will carry the plus. For standard trinomials, grade 9 level. So anyways, this y we break up into y and y. Now factors of 15. 5 times 3 and 15 times 1. Alright, what are those added together gives me plus 2? Well, if I say plus 5 minus 3, that would give me 2. Just want to remind you there, when you add these two together, it has to give you your middle term. Alright, grade 9 level trinomials. And now we get to the last one. This is the difference or sum of 2 cubes. So these, we can solve this. And I'm going to show you the shortcut here. Alright, now the plus is just going to influence things over here. So let's say dotka, we could also say sotka, sum of 2 cubes. Both are applicable here. So I'm just going to add that on there. SOTC, sum of 2 cubes. So we break it up into its base forms, b. And what's the cube root of 27? 3. And the plus carries down. Now, over here, we're going to have b squared. And what's 3 squared? 9. And for our middle number, you times them together. So 3b. And then this will become plus. Alright, and if, just alternatively quickly, if we had to change it up and say b cubed minus 27, just going to show you what that would look like. So let's say we have b cubed minus 27, and we had to factorize that. Well, that would be, again, bracket, 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 bracket. Cool thing is the sign here is the sign that pops in first. Okay, so we're going to have b minus 3, and now it's going to be plus plus, b squared plus 3b plus 9. So you see, that's the only difference. Both of them qualify as easy. If that's a plus, we've got plus, minus, plus. And if that's a minus in green here at the bottom, then this just becomes minus, plus, plus. Okay, and now we need to start getting back to grade 10 level. This is fair. So we are going to factorize the following 5 problems, and they are based on the fair level. Alright, the type of questions you should definitely see. And I want to remind you, we have our order: highest common factor, dots, trinomials, and dotka or sotka. Alright, and we need to follow that order. Now, over here, first one I told you, we look for a highest common factor. We have a 3, we have 27, we can take a highest common factor out, 3. Then we have y cubed and y, we can take out a y. And what is left? Y squared minus 9. Okay, and now we can go again. Start from the top, the highest common factor, and you go on. There's no factor here, but now we have a difference of 2 squares. Alright, it's very important to never stop factorizing because it says factorize fully. Alright, so we have 3y bracket, 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 plus, minus, y3 and y3. Can we take that further? No, we can't. Boom, we're done. Alright, next one we have another highest common factor, and now we start seeing brackets that are common. Alright, at first glance these brackets don't look identical. We've got q minus 1, we've got minus 1 plus q, and we've got 1 minus q. But there is a quick fix to get them all the same. Firstly, I want you to see that minus 1 over here, minus 1 over there, is the same as minus 1 over there. And this q over here is the same as plus q over here. So we can rewrite this as x squared q minus 1 plus 3x. And now we're just going to do a little switcheroo. Q minus 1, just write them in a different order. And we have plus 4, 1 minus q. Alright, so now what we have is two identical brackets, q minus 1, q minus 1. But I have another bracket. So why don't I just take this minus out and let's see what happens. But if I take a minus away from the 1, because it's a bracket, I have to take a minus away from the plus 1 as well. Alright, so just to quickly recap, this is x squared q minus 1 plus 3x times q minus 1. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a negative away from both, like I just said. So this is going to become a minus 4, because the plus times the minus we're pulling out gives us a minus. Now if you take a minus away from the q, it becomes positive q, and if you take a minus away from plus 1, it becomes minus 1. And there we have it. Now we have a common bracket, so let's take it out. It's q minus 1, and what's left? Well, we have x squared plus 3x minus 4. And are we done? No, we're not. What I want you to see is we have a trinomial. Remember they said factorize fully. Yeah? Okay, so factorizing that trinomial. We know a trinomial breaks into two brackets. Now, this is a minus, meaning they will be different. Plus, minus. And this, the second sign over here, the plus, means they will, the biggest one is going to carry the positive. Alright, so we have x. Now what are the factors of 4? 4 times 1 and 2 times 2. Now what minus what gives me 3? Well, 4 minus 1 gives me 3. So plus 4 minus 1 gives me 3. Can I factorize it further? No, I can't. There's the answer. Looking at 1.5.3. First thing I want you to see is, we have 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, and you can't just take out a highest common factor because this is 1 and the rest were b's. But if you count 4 terms, we need to immediately know that it's a highest common factor problem, specifically grouping. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to find the best place to put 2 brackets, and then we're going to see what's going on. Now I've already done it there for you, but when you do the brackets, try and keep the minus inside. What I mean by that is simply, let's look here. If we had to group the first one as b cubed minus b, and then we said plus, and now we can go minus 1 plus b squared. See what I mean by keeping the minus inside the bracket? The goal is so that we can factorize further. Alright, so what this is going to be is we can take out our highest common factor out of b cubed and b, right? So that becomes b brackets b squared minus 1 plus, and if we just do a quick switcheroo here, we would get b squared minus 1. Haha, alas, we have a common bracket. So we can take it out, b squared minus 1, and what's left, b plus 1. And what you need to notice is we have a difference of squares. Never forget the difference of squares. So we have b minus 1, b plus 1, b plus 1. Alrighty, let's move over to the next one. Factorize fully. A to the power of 4 minus b to the power of 4. Well, we can see there's no highest common factor here, because a and b. So the next one, difference of 2 squares. Is 4 a squared number? Yes, it is. And is b to the power of 4 a squared number? Yes, it is. So this becomes a to the power of 2 minus b to the power of 2 bracket bracket a to the power of 2 plus b to the power of 2. Remember, you need to root each one to get those factors. Alright, are we done? This is a minus. That's a squared and b squared. So we can take this further. And I want you to focus. I've seen so many grade 10s factorize this further and then forget about a squared plus b squared. Do not forget about a squared plus b squared, please. So this becomes, after factoring that, this becomes a plus b bracket a minus b, and then I just said to you, please do not forget the a squared plus b squared. There we go. Remember to always factorize as far as you can. Now, when approaching these grade 10 trinomials, we need to remember the basics, like I just explained, with the signs, meaning minus, minus, because plus, minus here. And now we need to go look at the factors of 9 and the factors of 4. Alright, now, when you add these two together, when you add the factors of these things together, they have to give us minus 13. Now I want you to see what's 9 plus 4. That is 13. So alternatively, minus 9 minus 4 would also equal minus 13, right? Cool. So if I had to put 4 and 9 here, and then split the x to the power of 4 into x squared and x squared, and the y to the power of 4 into y squared and y squared, testing that, we get what is 4x squared times x squared. There it becomes 4x to the power of 4, which is our number here. Then we get, okay, it's cool, so 4x squared times minus y squared becomes minus 4x squared y squared. Then the minus 9y squared times x squared becomes minus 9x squared y squared. And minus 9y squared times minus y squared becomes plus 9y to the power of 4. Adding like terms here in the middle, we then get 4x4 minus 13x squared y squared plus 9y to the power of 4, which was our question. So therefore, in hindsight, our factorization here was correct. Alright, always try and look at those factors. Here we saw it was 4 times 1. Here we saw it was 9 times 1. 4 plus 9 gives us 13. Alright, now we need to take a look at difficult. Alright, we have 4 questions here that are based on the hard level. Now again, I told you if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, that means grouping, right? So let's try and group it. If we had to take a peek here and say 1 minus q squared and 4xq minus 4x squared and see where that gets us. Let's take a look. If we had to write it out, it would be 1 minus q squared plus minus 4xq minus 4x squared. Alright, first one we know is a difference of two squares. So 1 minus q, 1 plus q. Second one we need to take out a minus 4x. So minus 4x, and what is left? Positive q plus 1. And now we see another common bracket. 1 plus q and q plus 1 is the same thing. So we can go and take that out. 1 plus q, and what's left? 1 minus q minus 4x. Alright. That was simply just highest common factor by seeing that we had 4 different terms. Alright, let's take a look at the next one. 1.5.2. Now what I want you to see here is we have brackets already, and brackets actually represent one term. Right? Grade 8 maths. And then we have this bracket is squared minus 169, which is actually 13 squared, x to the power of 6. So what we actually have there is a difference of two squares. Alright, so if we had to factorize that, you could look for a highest common factor, but because of the bracket, it limits us. That's why this is considered a difficult one. So applying the difference of two squares rules, I'm going to have to use two different brackets here. We have the first one, y cubed minus 14x cubed minus 13x to the power of 3 times that bracket again, y cubed minus 14x cubed plus 13x to the power of 3. And that's supposed to be close bracket. Alright, and now we can simply go and solve inside those brackets, which I'm going to do on another slide. To those who may have missed it, what we actually did was we noticed that there's a difference of two squares, so we wrote our brackets down immediately. Now if we had to factorize x squared minus y squared, we would get bracket 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 plus minus x y, right? Same thing here, we saw this difference of two squares, so we wrote bracket 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 bracket. Now breaking this up into its factors, we get y cubed minus 14x cubed and y cubed minus 14x cubed. A lot of you wanted to factorize the cube first. Don't do that just yet. Do the difference of two squares first, because that's what's happening here. And then we have minus 13x3 plus 13x3, because that is what happens when you break the 169 up into its factors according to the squared numbers. Okay, and now we can drop the brackets. Okay, so we have y cubed minus 14x cubed. Because it's this minus that, you can just drop the brackets, 13x cubed, minus, and same thing this side, y cubed minus 14x cubed plus 13x cubed. Cool, and now simplifying that, we get in this left bracket y cubed. You see we have minus 14 minus 13, so that becomes minus 27 x cubed. Haha, difference of two cubes. And on the right hand side we get y cubed minus 14 plus 13 becomes minus 1 x cubed again. Now we are not done factorizing fully. We see we have a difference of two cubes in both scenarios. Alright, so this first one becomes y minus 3x, and then it becomes y squared plus 3x 3x squared y squared x squared y squared. No, I'm wrong. Sorry. It's simply these two multiplied each other. So it's plus 3xy, my apologies about that, minus 9, not minus, plus 9x squared. Alright, and breaking this one up, factorizing that, it becomes y minus x, y squared plus xy plus x squared. And there we go, we are done. Alright, let's go back. Now, next problem. We need to factorize 12x squared minus 4xy minus 21y squared. Alright, so we can see it's a trinomial. How? Because 1, 2, 3 terms. We have x squared, we have y squared. Alright, so immediately two brackets. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, we have our two brackets. Now we've got our minus, which means different, plus minus, and then we've got another minus. Now this usually means the greater one will carry the negative. But in grade 10 level trinomials, that is not always the case. Okay, so what we actually need to do is we need to look at our different factors of 12 and 4. So I'll quickly remind you, we have bracket, 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 and because it's minus, minus, it's going to become minus, plus, or plus, minus, your choice. But the way we do this is we break up 12x squared into its factors, as well as 21y squared. And whatever we come up with, we need to add together to give us minus 4xy. Alright, now 12 breaks down into 12 times 1, 6 times 2, and 4 times 3. 21 likewise, 21 times 1, and 7 times 3. Okay, now you need to go through all the different combinations to get this. 12 times 21, 1 plus 1. But 12 times 21 minus 2, minus 1 is not going to give us minus 4. What we need to see is, yeah, we have 6 times 3 should give me 18, plus 2, or 18 minus 2 times 7 is 14, and that can give us 4. 18 minus 14 will give us 4. So let's see how we're going to pull that off. This is something x, this is something x, this is something y, this is something y. Okay, so let's try. I want 6 times 3, right? So 6x times 3y. And now I want 2, so 2x times 7y. Alright, that's the theory. Let's test it out. You need to test. So when we FOIL 6 times 2 here, that'll give me 12x squared. That's what I've got there. I'm happy. Then we have 6x times plus 3y. That becomes plus 18xy minus 14xy minus 21y squared. 21y squared. Okay, that's what I've got there, so I'm happy with that. But plus 18 minus 14 gives me plus 4xy. We wanted minus. So what we do now is we just take the plus and the minus and we switch them. So what that would look like is we erase. Where it was plus, we now make it minus, and where it was minus, we make it plus. And there we've got our answer. 6x plus 7y times 2x minus 3y. Alrighty. Okay. So, let's go back to our questions. Now, last one. 1.5.4, and then we are done. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. This is definitely our highest common factor sum. And this guy definitely deserves his own screen. Alright, this is the hardest problem we will do in this video. So, firstly we need to try and group. We need to isolate. Alright, so doing that, we can see we can isolate these two, we can isolate these two, and we can isolate these two. And what that looks like is simply b squared x plus 3x squared plus 3b squared plus 9x. And remember, we want to try and keep the minus inside, so plus minus x cubed minus 27. Alright, let's start in order. Highest common factor, we can take out an x, so x. B squared plus 3. Take out a 3 plus 3. B squared plus 3x. No? Yeah, b squared plus 3x, that's correct. And we're missing an x here. Now we can start seeing there's some similarity. And here we can take out a negative, so minus. We have x cubed plus 27. Alright, here we have a sum of 2 cubes, so equals x brackets b squared plus 3x brackets plus 3 brackets b squared plus 3x brackets minus. Now let's quickly sort these two out. That's a plus, so it's x plus 3, and then it becomes minus plus x squared minus 3x plus 9. Alright, and that we can treat as a, well, these two we can take out our highest common factor here, so let's try that. If we had b squared plus 3x, taking that out, we had x plus 3 left over minus x plus 3 bracket bracket x squared minus 3x plus 9, and now we have one more common bracket, which is x plus 3, so we take it out, x plus 3, and what's left, b squared plus 3x minus bracket x squared minus 3x plus 9. Alright, what happened there was we took out the x plus 3, what was left, b squared plus 3x, let me just put that in brackets there, b squared plus 3x. The minus stayed, and then we had that, meaning we need one more bracket here. Alright, let's times this minus in and solve, because we are not done just yet. So we get x plus 3, b squared plus 3x minus x squared plus 3x minus 9. And lastly, we identify like terms and solve. So x plus 3 times, okay. We have 3x plus 3x, and that's it. So it's b squared plus 6x minus x squared minus 9. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share, and become part of the Whiteboard family.